The following podcast contains spoilers for 2017's Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League 2021.
You're listening to the Jedi HoloCast, fully armed and operational.
If you in need of revenge, and I'll be your fury, but if your review needs revenge, then no need to worry. I'm gonna take the last of your mutants and rebuild the nation. If you about to die for the third time, this some regeneration, but if you're lacking in facts, you about to be the res, because I'm tracking attacks like an angry Judge Dredd. Don't come trying to put me on blast or end up in traction. Find yourself in more casts than even Samuel Jackson. But if you're not an imposter, no need to warn you. If you want to live long and prosper, got something for you. If your blackest night needs some light, then I'll shine above you. If you're frozen in carbonite, here comes someone who loves you. Greetings, programs. Welcome to the Jedi HoloCast, the one and only podcast broadcasting to and about the multiverse. I'm your host, Digital Jedi, coming to you. I didn't pick a superlative today. What am I? Antithetically, generically? I forgot to pick one. That's how exciting it's been.
Coming to you in 4:3 aspect ratio.
Exactly.
My
From
senior
Jedi
superlative
Temple
was
One.
most likely to be arrested at Burger King. You can have that one if you want.
So as you can see, today's show, it's the Data Boys. So
What does that mean?
yeah, this is
What
going to
does
be
that mean?
this is going to be utter chaos. So we have our usual host, Danny and Sirius. I'll do my usual spiel that I do from the beginning of the show at the
Okay,
end
so
of today's
Danny
show.
is second smartest.
So cool. We're just going to get into it. We're here. We have the Data Boys from the Watchtower Database. We have James.
James.
The hit is the leader of
I'm
the Data
Hydra.
Boys.
Tailed Hydra.
One head of the Hydra.
He's one head of the Hydra. He's the one that always grows back.
Chop me off, Ted and Mattie grow in my place.
With a goatee.
I'm so ready to hit my next growth spurt.
Me too.
We have Ted.
That's me.
The writer, the artist. No, wait. The writer, James is the artist. The writer of Legacies
Writing
of the
is
DCAU.
art.
You're the artist
Yes,
too,
it
Mark.
is. And we have Mattie, who's also there.
He's a guy.
That's about an apt descriptor of who I am as a person. Just floating along, also being there.
And we have our my usual co-host, Danny and Sirius. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody for being on today's show, because the Snyder Cut dropped 2 days ago, and
2 days ago,
3 days ago, however many
3
days ago,
A month ago.
no,
Depends on when you're listening to the podcast, really.
Yeah, I
2 months ago.
yeah.
4 hours ago.
Time is relative. It's a social construct.
50 years ago,
Four.
whenever now is. I didn't say that right.
I mean, I've probably slept twice since the Snyder Cut came out. So, but yeah, so just throwing it out there. Let's just throw chaos to the wind. Wait, that's not how that expression goes. What did you guys think of the Snyder Cut?
I was really excited about the part where they flashed forward to the future and we saw Batman Beyond.
I was too.
Yeah.
You know, Mattie, I think he's looking for a serious answer here. So
Well, Sirius is here and can give answers
Yeah.
for themselves.
I can-
joke I was
agree.
leading into, and you stepped on it. But it's
I can tell you've never listened to this podcast before, if you think that's what I'm looking for. No, so like, I'm just like stunned that I liked the thing, to be perfectly honest. Like, I thought maybe I'd kind of sort of like it. Like, I'd be like, yeah, he got to do his thing. He got to, finally finish his vision of the thing. And it was what it was. Maybe there'd be elements I like. Maybe there'd be elements that I'd find really, really dumb. But I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. Like, for 4 hours, I was actually engaged.
Did any of you watch?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear the
theatrical
engagement
right
broke
before?
off.
Yeah.
Condolences, Mark.
Did any of you watch the theatrical again right
I
before
did.
watching this?
I watched it the Saturday before.
A couple of days before.
I did not.
Danny
Yeah,
did.
I avoided it like
I
the
watched
plague.
it the day.
As you should.
I have no desire to
Yeah.
ever watch that again. Ever.
Yeah.
On
Well, now I
rewatch.
don't for sure.
I have
Danny-
Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say Danny watched the whole freaking DCEU before.
yeah.
I did watch
I
Man
mean-
of Steel and Batman vs Superman.
I watched the whole DCEU, but I was, drunk, and it was sporadically over, the entirety of COVID. So a lot of it's in one ear and out the other. I don't even remember anything from the first Justice League. It's going to be really fun listening to that audio back whenever James cuts it all down. I just remember really enjoying Flash in the first one, and otherwise the entirety of the Snyder Cut just felt like a new experience, with the only thing that like sparked any memory being Batman meets Aquaman. Everything else was just like, I don't remember this. Let's go.
Yeah. I more or less felt the same way. I was like trying to piece together how the scenes had been edited very, very differently chronologically for this cut.
Yes.
But after a while, I was like, I can't really remember how Whedon tied them together, so I'm just gonna flow with this.
I mean, I
With
definitely
dental
prefer.
floss.
Yeah, sure. I definitely prefer the BVS recap opening to the baby podcast opening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those
For
9-year-olds who have a podcast.
How many people that you've saved have you saved? Oh wait,
Did
no.
you find a hypno?
Instead of
Superman,
like,
what?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Why is there flesh covering up your mustache?
Yeah. Well, you see, the river of the S. Yeah. There's
Car
no...
keys.
Yeah, exactly. You know, my dad used to say in no other movie that hope is like your car keys. So roll with that. Is that good? Is that a good quote, kids, for your baby podcast?
He looked so annoyed with them. Like he looked so dismissive of those children. Like
Yeah.
he was like, God, I
Oh,
hate this
boy.
so much. It's like that was such a terrible way to open the movie.
Well,
The
you know,
Superman
it's
hates kids.
he wasn't looking at the kids; he was looking at Joss Whedon, and then the kids were dubbed in later.
course.
I did note that as we were watching it, I was like, how tall are these kids? They're at eye level with Superman. Are they
My
holding
son-
their phones on like a giant
I assume
selfie
so.
stick?
Yeah.
See, what happened is they were actually both Shazam.
Ah.
I had this discussion on the Discord, which opened up a really big can of worms to how I didn't notice. I still can't see what everybody sees
Oh,
with
here we go.
Superman's flip, and it seemingly enraged everyone in the Discord.
I can see
If it makes you feel any better, my mom couldn't see it either.
that one.
I guess.
The baby podcast scene is really the only time I can notice it. I think when like a couple other times when he says like one word, I'm like, oh, there it is. But the baby podcast is just it's just his upper lip is like twice as long as it should be.
Yeah.
But
It's funny.
how about the Snyder version though?
No, I realize that too. We're not talking about this movie.
Yeah.
We're talking about the baby podcast cut of
So-
Justice League.
I mean, it's impossible to talk about the Snyder Cut without talking about the 2017 version, just because.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Yeah. Which does anyone want to get into like the history behind it? Do we need to set that up?
Sure.
Does everybody already know?
I mean,
we do.
I think most people. Well, no, that's probably being presumptuous. I don't think everyone realizes that Snyder had to leave the production because of a personal tragedy that he and his wife hadn't yet properly coped with.
Yeah.
So that's why it was handed over to Whedon, who seemingly decided to just kind of like remake a bunch of scenes from his Avengers movies.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that explains why I was having a fun time.
Yeah.
Well,
My
but
dumb
it's
baby
like,
brain didn't register. I had already seen it all.
but it's like some of the gross
Oh.
scenes, like the Flash falling on Wonder Woman's chest and then like awkwardly being like, "Oh, sorry." And like I read that Ray Fisher said that even during the production of those reshoots with Joss Whedon, he would get confused, and Joss Whedon would like call Diana Natasha and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember that interview.
It's wild.
I can't even imagine having to like. I'm not defending anything Joss Whedon-y, but I can't imagine being a director that comes on to the movie and they're like, hey, we want you to like redo the whole movie. You have 3 months.
Yeah.
You know, like what are you supposed to do? So I can kind of understand like, well, I did this and this and everyone liked that in Avengers. I guess I'll just try to do that again. But at the same time, yeah, that whole article Ted's talking about is all like that he did sabotage it on purpose, sort of, because people didn't like Age of Ultron or something. So
yeah, he did seem to be like in a generally foul mood by that point. At least that was my like impression of the thing, to where he's just like, yeah, whatever worked for.
I also love how with Cyborg, like especially with how great his arc is in the Snyder Cut, like with Whedon, like Ray had to keep intervening and being like, I'm not going to act out all these ableist joke scenes. Sorry, Joss. No.
I always liked Cyborg in even in the original cut, but I liked him so much more in this one.
Yeah,
and I am disappointed.
It really makes you feel for Ray Fisher and like everything he went through to, on the path to seeing this movie realized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like just the fact that like if you watch the theatrical version, I remember he'd said this, I think, in an interview. But like every scene that he was in, with the exception of like the rooftop scene where like they meet Gordon, like he redid all of his scenes. Like they're not the same. Yeah. If you watch like the theatrical version, they're new takes, and it's like I don't think they're not better.
No.
Like if they just used the Snyder ones in place of them, it would have been like
Cyborg talking to Wonder Woman on the sidewalk when she's like trying to convince him to join the team. In the Snyder one, like he's just Cyborg. He's just himself. He's not in like a hoodie or anything. He's like, and he like zooms up on his jetpacks and lands and like, "Fuck you, Wonder Woman. I'm not doing your shit." And then, but in the theatrical, they use like the same reverse shots of Wonder Woman, but then they're like, it would be way better if he was just in a hoodie and sulked out of an alleyway instead, right? That would be better. There's so many moments like that where it's like, why, I understand trying to change, trying to add some more jokes, trying to change the tone a little bit to be a little more family friendly than BVS and stuff like that. That I can sort of get behind the reasoning. But I don't understand how you could watch most of what was there to work with from the Snyder Cut and go, that sucks. How about Flash falls on boobs? That would be good.
Like, James, have you ever fallen on boobs before?
You have a point.
It's a lot of fun.
You're right.
I highly recommend the experience.
I think it's a little overrated, but
I mean, it might not be as fun for the boobs you're falling on, depending on how fast the velocity.
Listen, who cares about the boobs' feelings, James?
After the second time, you feel like been there, done that.
I don't know about that.
But I'll tell you that it was not that way for my second time of boobs, but. If boobs lose their magic that quickly for you, Mark, I maybe you need to spice it up and get it. Have you tried falling on 2 sets of boobs?
Yeah, well, falling on other things has been my modus operandi. Fall on the spectrum.
Hey, that reminds me. What about the scene with all the falling hot dogs? What about that?
Really, as much as I enjoyed that scene, I really did was questioning, where is this hot dog thing going? Like I just had a really bad feeling, and then it just turned out to be, he's gonna feed the dogs.
Yeah.
But
here's my thing: it's really close to her mouth.
Yeah.
So like. I know a lot of people are making fun of that scene, but the way I was reading it is Barry's got a dad in jail. He's having to work 3 jobs, etc., etc., to make ends meet and everything. And so for me, I was just like, damn, motherfucker just came up on some free food. Hell yeah! And then they, instead of doing that, they were just like, meat snacks for the dogs. And I'm just like, all right, well, that's a funny joke and all, but I would have enjoyed, because like they were already doing some of like the class and wealth gap stuff with Cyborg that like I felt like it'd be interesting to bring that back around with a different character.
I kind of read it more like, oh, this woman is so, like that the joke was supposed to be, this woman is so beautiful, like I'm in love with just looking at her, but wait, I'm distracted by hot dog because funny metabolism joke. But at the same time, that whole entire like way too long slow-mo moment of both of those things, my friends and I watching the movie together, we were just like, she has no control over what's happening, and he's just like rubbing her face very slowly, and we're like,
that aspect's kind of weird.
Flash,
no.
And then
okay, so which is worse?
Wait, did he actually touch her face? I don't remember that.
So very
like I'm pretty sure he like brushed hair out of her eyes and shit. And like, which is worse, non-consensually touching this woman or the boob fall?
Hey, he saved her life. She would have died in that car.
Yeah. Well, they did have the little mini meet cute thing in the doorway, at least. I guess I don't know.
That's still not an excuse.
Let
to
me
touch
remind
this
you,
woman.
after he saved her, that car blew up in a giant ball of fire. So like,
yeah, what was with that?
Did, like,
why
the Nala eyes at him afterwards? So.
I mean, haven't we learned from film that cars are just small bombs waiting to go off at the slightest impact?
She was in like this.
Listen, as the leader of Antifa, I've seen a few cars explode over the past year.
Yeah.
They do it. They have gasoline. I love the song for Siren by Tim Buckley that played during the hot dog scene, but it like almost ruined the song for me with all the hot dogs flying around. I want to say it was weird.
I don't care. The hot dogs were fun.
It was like sexual tension. I guess I don't know.
On the subject of the slow-mo, I feel like this is the first Snyder movie where like the slow-mo didn't bug me as much as other Snyder experiences, because like the way I'm looking at it is we have like 3 super fast characters in between Diana and Flash and Superman that like it just feels like this was built for Snyder slow-mo. Like just a whole bunch of Days of Future Past Quicksilver scenes all over the place.
Particularly the scene where Clark comes back to life and is like fighting the League in front of the monument, and there's that scene, it was in the 2017 version too, where he turns his head and like sees the Flash.
It's like one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah, I love that. I'm glad that stayed in. I was. So how surprised were you at which scenes actually turned out to be Snyder scenes, particularly like jokes?
None of them. Again, sorry.
I need friends. The Flash says that kind of surprised me. Where he was like, joined because I need friends.
Well, but that was in the like 2016 Comic-Con preview, so I knew that was for sure.
Yeah,
exactly. They
I forgot
added
about
in
that.
the whole, what is brunch? I just brunch. You stand in line for lunch for and so that whole part was like extra that they green screened it. Like, this joke was so extra,
so extra.
And then it really was just like the Flash, the whole movie. And so then when that whole moment was not there, the brunch part, like we like applauded as we were watching it. We were chanting no brunch before, and then it didn't happen. We're like,
like
I do not remember the brunch line, but I guess I should. I should have rewatched.
And it came back later, like at the end
in the credits scene. Yeah.
No, you should not have rewatched. Do not ever rewatch that movie.
Well, the only other one that I was surprised about was also a Flash joke, in that he fist bumps Cyborg on top of the power plant at the end, regardless of there not being a setup at the graveyard for it this time. In the Joss Whedon one, they like added in like him trying to fist bump him and then him just staring at him like, oh, racially charged? Okay.
I fucking hate that line. I hate it. That was the line.
Apparently, from what I understand, that was an ad lib on Ezra Miller's part. That wasn't even like written by Joss Whedon.
Perfect.
Awkward. I know James is really excited for Aquaman's "My Man." That's his favorite line.
It was a different
I
take,
love that
though,
line.
wasn't it? Because like it was less intense. Like
it was
the one of the theatrical. He's like really overdoing it, but here it was more subdued. I found.
So like, what was the difference?
He was just in delivery.
Yeah,
he was like, my man.
Can you give us an example?
He's like, my man. He's fucking just going for it.
Okay.
It was if they ADR'd it to be more exciting, which I think they also ADR'd "You Smell Good" for the theatrical when Lois Lane gets dropped off at the Kent farm with Superman.
Oh, yeah.
She just turns to him in the theatrical. She turns to him and very clearly, audibly says, "You smell good."
Like death.
And all of us were like, and when we watched it with my friends, we were all like, "You've been in a fucking casket for a year, like rotting. What are you talking about?" And then in this one,
he's got that new body smell.
Yeah, I expected that was a Joss Whedon edition, but then when they land, she turns to him, and I was like, "No," and but it's a lot like less like articulate. She's just like, "You smell good."
I want to.
What did she say it? I guess she said
you
it.
smell
Why?
Refreshed.
I have a Superman resurrection question because I rewatched Batman vs Superman, and at the very end it has that Inception sort of moment where like we see the grave and the dirt rises up. What that had nothing to do with his resurrection.
No, as if he. I mean, I guess it's just to imply that he's not technically dead or something, because you would think that he would have like aged, his body would have kind of turned into a zombie a little more than nothing at all.
How much time was between the movies? Was it like a year and a half or 6 months or what?
I think it's
I think they said a year. Did they something? It was something like a year, I think.
I know it was 2 years between Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman.
Well, it's hard to tell for me in the opening because they literally show him dying again and all his screams, flowing throughout the universe.
Yeah.
And you
love
see
that.
Luthor in the goop talking to Steppenwolf, and then like very next scene, it wakes up the mother box, and then Steppenwolf like, "I'm here, dude." So it's like, is it immediately after his funeral? I don't know. I don't.
So I don't remember the Whedon cut actually having any explanation for why the mother boxes reawaken.
I think it was supposed to just be that the
Party Rock was in the house.
Yeah. Something in the New Gods like atmosphere, in their like.
Did they notice that Clark was dead, or was it implied that they came back to life because Clark was dead?
Yeah, it's something
in dialogue.
Kryptonian, now this world is fallen into chaos or something.
Yeah. No lanterns or Kryptonian.
Yeah, that one. So it's sort of, but I thought that was the implication that it wasn't more so the mother box, but more so like the reason why Steppenwolf arrived was he was like, okay, Superman's dead, now I can go get the mother boxes, as opposed to like Superman's dead, the mother boxes have activated.
Yeah. Which I like a lot better. Yeah.
So
and
wait,
then
so did the mother boxes only show up on Earth like after Superman got there?
No, they were there thousands of years.
So why weren't they? Yeah, so why weren't they active like before his arrival?
Yeah, that's something I was thinking too. Is like, they were so scared of Superman that they just now are coming. Except that he's only been active for like 2 years and there for like 30.
Well, they did it. They did explain in Diana's little spiel how the mother boxes lost power as they after they defeated Darkseid. And so there was a time period there where Darkseid wasn't going to return because he'd got his ass handed to him in that battle.
And also he didn't
know
where he was.
That time period just happened to extend all the way up to the 2 or 3 years that Superman was active.
And apparently they lost the planet somehow.
Yeah, that was a weird plot.
Right.
Yeah, there's some sort of indication that they just like misplaced Earth. I don't quite know.
Darkseid found the fucking anti-life equation, and then he went, I don't remember where it is. I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, he got his ass beat, so he blocked out his memory. It was dramatic.
I guess when he got axed in the shoulder, he had some memory loss. I don't know.
Personally, if anyone hit me with body spray, I'd lose my memory too.
Yeah. I don't remember middle school at all.
These fumes.
Yeah.
That would explain a lot about guys who use axe. No offense to anyone here.
Do you think someone on this call uses axe? We got to out them.
Yeah,
who on this call uses axe?
We have to suss them out.
Who's your
who's
top
doing
choice?
Hey, right guard over here.
I'm just gonna throw a shot in the dark and say James. James uses axe.
James was not the imposter.
Jesus.
I use whatever my wife buys me on sale. So, but
She probably
I don't think she's a
acts.
fan.
Would
I
you
don't think
say,
she's a
Mark?
fan of
Mark,
Axe.
would you say that you smell?
She just
good?
made a face. She is not a fan of Axe. So
Mark
I
didn't hear
think
my
James's
That's
joke
okay.
got talked over, but
what was
you'll hear it
what
back
was-
in the edit.
Yeah.
what was James's joke? Jokes are funnier the second time, James. What was it?
You smell good.
Ah,
Sorry.
I do.
Anyway, yeah, that I guess the bringing Superman back to life moment was kind of the first spot in the movie that it was like definitely different. Like, okay, this is a whole new ball game, boys and girls, because it was like they did a whole like flash forward to the future. Wonder Woman is chop suey on a table, and
Kilowog is dead.
They're
Oh
using
yeah, I was Kilowog in there.
Yeah,
I missed that.
This whole thing, and I thought that was going to be where they showed the nightmare stuff, and then they would then Flash would have to go back and tell Batman like actually do this, and then it would reverse it. Like I was like, oh wow, this is going to be completely different, and it was still a kind of cool moment. But yeah, then it was just back to like, never mind, it's the same. We're going to bring Superman back.
It was still Nightmare.
Yeah.
It was still like the Nightmare world though. I felt
Right, but I just thought that was where all the Jared Leto stuff and everything was going to happen.
Something about the mother boxes that I wanted to ask, because I didn't rewatch Justice League, the Whedon cut. So did they have that conversation where they're like the mother boxes can take existing matter and reconstruct it? It's just changed and they can change it back, and that's how we know we can bring Superman back, because I don't remember that either.
It was more implied that they're gonna try to bring Superman back because they're like, oh, we're not strong enough to fight Steppenwolf,
right?
But in this, it's more like he's the only. I can't remember what it was. There was a subtle difference in the reason why they brought Superman back that was much better in this.
Yeah. In the theatrical cut, they basically said like Batman and Wonder Woman didn't feel confident that they could lead the team, so they were like, "Well,
that's right. It
Superman's
was
a
leading
leader."
the team versus beating the shit out of
Yeah.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah, so it makes much more sense. It's like we need someone strong to beat Steppenwolf rather than like, oh, I don't feel like a leader. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did Steve Trevor? They didn't have that whole thing.
That
was
melodrama.
Really nice.
Like, thank you, Joss Whedon. I needed that in my Justice League movie.
The other Avengers carryover.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta fight each other. They gotta be bad enemies before they can learn to work as a team. Which is it makes sense, but they didn't. It's not necessary. I don't know.
I want to say the Flash had a much more satisfying arc for me for this movie. Like thinking back to the theatrical cut, the Flash's main things where he had that like pep talk from Batman where he was like, "You just save one of them," and then he ends up like saving all the hostages. And then at the end, he saves that family of 4 that was there in that Russian country.
That's the entire story for the Flash. Yeah.
But here in the Snyder Cut, he saves the entire world by having his whole time travel-y reverse time thing, which was a fun nod back to the Richard Donner Superman and that sort of like reverse time. It's just so much better. And that was such an awesome scene.
One really smart parademon that managed to shoot him while he was running in circles.
All the other
parademons sucked.
These parademons had excellent targeting skills. Yeah, props for that.
He got shot like 2 times.
Yeah, they did not regularly miss like stormtroopers. Yeah. So that made them feel a bit more threatening.
Yeah, I definitely had like I hope the Flash gets some sort of closure to his arc in this version, and then boy howdy.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think Ezra Miller might be slightly miscast as the Flash. I don't hate him as the Flash, but I don't love him either. I can't even say who I would prefer. Like that's the problem. It's like I don't know who I would cast either. But
I mean, the cast of this universe has always been so weird to me because like Henry Cavill was kind of a no name for Superman, which felt nice because you didn't have to be like, oh, it's some stupid like high level actor that it's
Nicolas Cage,
something like that.
But Henry Cavill auditioned for Superman Returns, actually. Back in the day. Yeah. Fun fact.
Okay. But then they just turn around and like Ben Affleck, household name. Like it was always so weird to me to do that. So then the whole like just everybody is of such varying fame levels, which I guess is fine. It just always has felt weird to me that like choice wise that they would.
I mean, that is true of the MCU too. There's varying fame levels in there.
So.
Yeah.
But it feels more
odd.
I think it's more imbalanced.
I grew to like Ben Affleck's Batman in the Snyder Cut a lot more than I did previously. Like watching Batman vs Superman, he was definitely like how he killed so many people and branded people. It didn't really feel like a familiar take on Batman. He was a lot more brutal, and so it was kind of nice to see that dialed back a bit, but not like totally gone, because we still have like lines like the epilogue where he's like, "I'll kill you one day, Joker." You know,
right?
I think
people that
I was saying this in the chat the other day, but this is so far I think my favorite live action interpretation of Batman. Not necessarily like in the continuity as a whole, but this specific movie just felt much more true to like what I see Batman as than like anything from my recollection. Like it's been a while since I've watched the Burton movies, and like I haven't watched Adam West Batman really like that intently, but from Val Kilmer forward, this just felt like, yes, this is Batman. This is Batman in a DC movie. This is what I've wanted.
Well, see, he didn't have an opportunity to murder a human being indiscriminately. So
true.
I mean, yeah, that probably helps it out. Which like that's like as much as I enjoyed this movie, like sitting back and like thinking about it, it kind of made me like sus of this world's Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
Because like the Commissioner Gordon intro scene is just like he's handed the like police sketch, and he's just like, "No, Batman wouldn't do a bad thing. He's been working with us for 20 years, and I know Batman, and he's a good guy." And I'm just like, well, yeah. I mean, it you know. In my vision of Batman, he wouldn't do a bad thing. He is a good guy. But
yeah, I mean, that crayon drawing looks like Batman.
This world established that he's like a brutal psychopath, and like now all of a sudden, Jim Gordon is complicit in that. He's just like, I don't give a shit that he's doing a police brutality. He's on our side.
That was Chris Allen that was with him, who becomes the Spectre. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I'm just expecting if we ever get a follow up to this, like Lockup is 100% going to be working at GCPD, like right under Gordon's nose, and Gordon's going to be like, "Good job, Lyle. Love you. Let's go."
Yeah. He's the deputy.
Give me pictures of Spider-Man.
So
that was what happened when they all landed on the roof with him. One of my friends was like, how many, he says, "How many of there are you?" Or how many of you are there? Jesus, how many of you are there? And they're like, "Not enough." And then he's like, and my friend's like, "That's nice, but I was kind of hoping for some Spider-Man action."
It's hard to separate him from that role. It's like impossible.
It really is.
I think he is well cast visually. Like, if you comparing him, a lot of the characters in this, if you compare them to their DCAU versions, they're like, "Oh, yep, that looks just like old man TNBA Gordon." But then, like when he speaks, I'm like, "Oh, this is J. Jonah Jameson." Like, I can't not hear that. So,
I associate J.K. Simmons with both Jameson and Ford Pines from Gravity Falls. So, like, I have multiple roles I associate him with. So maybe that makes it a bit easier for me to see him in other roles, because every time I see him in something, I'm just like, yeah, that's J.K. Simmons. That's awesome. I love that guy. So it's like
the only other character I can associate him with is "We are farmers."
General Eiling.
I was gonna say that, but also Juno's dad.
General Eiling,
yeah, General Eiling.
I completely forgot he was the voice of Stanford, right? Stanford.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, so maybe
Gravity Falls. Watch it, James.
Watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
James, have you not seen Gravity Falls yet?
Correct.
That is Yeah, having a kid is no excuse for not keeping up with things.
All right, kick James out.
Yeah, kick.
Steppenwolf.
Actually,
I want to talk Steppenwolf.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yes, that's a good topic. I can't
Steppenwolf?
talk. I'm very sleepy.
The band or the character?
Steppenwolf.
Let's talk about the character.
Let's talk about the band.
No, let's talk about the character.
Born to Be Wild, great song.
Like, generally speaking, how did you like the interpretation of Apocalyptians?
I loved it.
I really like Steppenwolf in this. Way better than just generic snarky Joss Whedon villain.
Oh yeah.
From the theatrical cut. I am slowly but surely warming up to how he looks. Like, at first I was like, I don't like this at all. But like the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, yeah, actually the way the armor moves around is really neat. And like maybe the silver's not as bad as I originally
liked
thought.
that myself.
But yeah, I still kind of wish it was a different color.
I got the impression that when they decided to, for whatever reason, redesign him for the theatrical, that they went like, well, if you watch that scene at the end of Batman vs Superman where you see Steppenwolf in like the Kryptonian needlepoint Skype, that he's
Zoom James.
No.
Zoom BC.
No. This is an ancient civilization they use.
Yes, okay.
He has he has like the devil horn kind of shape on his head, and that's like the only carryover is that horn shape. And so I always kind of assume they're like, well, we have to keep that, do whatever else you want. But with like to immediately go on Instagram like a week after the movie came out originally and see all these designs for what everything could have looked like, it was just so like, oh my God, like this is so much better. Why? And that's the part that I'm really satisfied with about this, is that I watched it and went, thank you. That's what that's what I was hoping for. It's not a perfect movie still. Like there are still plenty of things that are like kind of, why'd you do that? But it's so much better.
I love just his motivation was so much better rather than being like, Mother, I'm doing this for Mother.
Yeah.
It's like, he's just trying to get back to the planet. He wants to go home.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit that Darkseid just steps on all the time.
He's middle management.
Trying to prove himself. Yeah.
The CEO is like breathing down his neck, and he's just got to do the job so he can go home. Like, it's sad. You feel bad for him.
I like Desaad saying like, you have to conquer like 5,000 worlds before Darkseid will...
Yeah.
No, it was like 500,000.
Yeah.
500,000.
Add another zero.
Hang on, but I found the anti-life equation. No, you didn't. Call back 6 more times to tell me the same thing.
It was corporate bureaucracy, like just all over the place with Apocalypse.
Yeah,
but with a lot more murder.
They need an HR department.
Yeah.
For our review that I'm editing right now, I really want to have I want to manipulate some sort of scene to be Desaad just hanging out on Apocalypse, and then whoop boop boop. This fuck again. I told him if he doesn't have all 3 mother boxes. Yes. Do you have all 3 mother boxes?
The Unity.
No, but hang on a sec. Fuck off.
And I love his "I told you so" to Darkseid at the end, where he's just like, "I told you he wouldn't do it." And Darkseid's like, "Yes."
I thought he was going to pull
a
Twilight and kill him in that moment. I thought he was going to be like, "Yeah, you did, Desaad."
Desaad's
I was thinking that
like
too.
Being dead.
He's always been like the worm tongue to his King Theoden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That was the Lord of the Rings reference.
It's just a little shit.
I got it. I'm hip on 4-hour movies. I get it.
Yeah.
LOTR discourse. I definitely liked having a Steppenwolf with motivation, because like there's no motivation in the Whedon cut. In addition to that,
just more mommy problems. Martha,
am I the only one that thought his outfit was kind of cool?
From the Whedon cut?
From the new one. From the Snyder Cut.
Oh, I liked it from the new one.
Because I like how it seemed like it was designed not to protect him from injury, but like to close in injury because like those arrows make contact, but he snips them off, and it's like the thing holds his wounds shut till he can heal, which he probably heals faster than humans, which I thought made a lot more sense for like someone who heals fast as opposed to.
Well, you brought up the arrows. Before I got a chance to watch it, all that Ted had said was like that the Amazons versus Steppenwolf part was still his favorite part of the movie.
Remains true.
I mean, well, I didn't
good.
quite get that when he said it, because I was thinking of the theatrical, where all that was going through my mind the whole time was like, why are they even trying? This is pointless. Where are they going to go? It's an island kind of a thing, you know, like where are they going to take the box? Go, go, go. We got to get to the other side of the island so we can just circle around in circles forever.
Maybe there's a Pegasus thing there somewhere they could have jumped on.
Yeah.
Well,
Steve Trevor was sitting on the other side waiting to blast off.
But then in this, there's definitely like a few extra shots of brutality that make it really like, I mean, in general, Steppenwolf feels heavier. He feels more like imposing. Even if he wasn't, even if he was wearing the same armor, I think he would still have been like more, oh my god, like, yeah, I see why you're running away from this guy instead of just like, really, you can't handle that asshole? Go back and punch him in the dick. It's fine. He's right there.
Do the whole reach around. It was kind of silly.
Fleeing multiple horses by their reins.
I thought the line like "We have no fear" was kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh no, I thought that was awesome.
It was awesome.
That wasn't in the
theatrical. I did like that. Yeah.
Cheesy. Well, whatever. It's comic books. They can be.
Yeah, a little bit of cheese. Yeah.
Warriors got. I mean, like even modern day soldiers have that kind of chant thing. They got for like their individual troops. They'll yell stuff like, "Do we got any heroes here today? No heroes, sir," or something like that.
Little cheerleader chants. I was really excited to see the Atom. Not to change the topic, but
he had been completely cut out. Yeah,
Ryan Choi. Yeah, he was cool.
He was so like minimal in the entire
pun intended
movie.
But
like definitely made an impact. Like as soon as I heard Ryan Choi, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And, like every time he was on screen, like he stole the scene.
He and Cyborg's dad were in the movie so much. Like there was way more Cyborg's dad.
I'm so glad they used. I keep calling him Papa Pope because I forget his real name. That's who he played in Scandal. But
Terminator
I love that. I love that actor, and I'm so glad he got to. I'm so glad he did more because you don't cast that guy just for a bit role.
Yeah,
and he was so good. Having so much more screen time in this version, it really. Gave you a greater sense of who Cyborg is to explain why his dad did what he did.
Even though he got killed off in this version, and in the theatrical cut, he survived and helped Cyborg make like a new uniform or what, I don't know. Like it was Cyborg 2.0 at the end of the movie, basically.
Yeah.
I got a logo now.
Yeah. Real superhero.
Didn't Lex already make him a logo though?
Right.
I do prefer the final look for Cyborg in the theatrical cut of the usual look he has in both versions. But outside of that, I would much rather have this dynamic from the Snyder Cut where like there's an actual arc with Vic and Silas, and like you actually give your minority characters shit to do. Other than just fly around and then say booyah at the end because haha funny.
There was no booyah.
Yeah, like
so because Cyborg's connection to the. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm having minor lag issues, which might be making me interrupt people. I apologize for that. By the way,
no, that's all right.
But Ray didn't want to say booyah in the theatrical cut, and Joss was like, "No, you're going to say the funny word," and he wasn't happy with that. So even though I do like booyah as a phrase for Cyborg, it's like, it is actually nice to just see him do what he wants to do in the Snyder Cut. Instead of being forced to say stuff he doesn't want to say. Like I just
I mean, like
appreciate that.
If you remember when it might have been the initial time Ray Fisher brought it up, but it was definitely like last summer when he had gone and said, he had a bad time on the set of Justice League. I believe it was John Berg, one of the producers, had sort of gone out and he was like, "Oh, Ray Fisher, he was he didn't want to say booyah on set." Like that was basically his response. Like it's like,
wow.
Was that like was that supposed to be like the epic rebuttal that turns everyone against Ray Fisher? Like you're just like,
whoa, he didn't say booyah. Huh.
Yeah, guess we're not going to support him anymore. Welcome.
And you know that worked for some people. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Ted, you had mentioned that you missed Superman being kind of more uplifting.
Yeah.
When he comes, I think I agree with that, because when he comes back in this, like, I think he does better stuff when he comes back. Like he's cooler, he's more badass, blah blah blah. He doesn't just lift a building full of children or whatever. But that was the part that was missing sort of from this, is like, oh, thank God Superman's back. Yeah. The only he really pummels Steppenwolf like over and over again.
Beats the
like
piss out of him,
which is fine. Like that's cool. I want him to do that, but I do kind of miss that. Like that was sort of their out before to set Superman up in this universe as an actual Superman character,
right?
And instead of just putting him back to status quo Man of Steel. Like, I'm surprised you didn't snap Steppenwolf's neck. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he lost his neck by the end of it. Yeah. I like Superman in the Snyder movies from Man of Steel throughout. Like, I rewatching Man of Steel, I loved it. I thought a big problem with Batman vs Superman was just the lack of Superman dialogue. Like, I'm pretty sure he speaks like under 20 times, like in the whole movie. It's just it's not a lot. And it was a similar issue with
this
film.
Sad face.
Yeah, that's like my one thing. Like, I think his more like inspiring take, it could have been a greater presence if he just had more to say and do.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get too far off the topic,
glad. Okay, sorry.
I wanted to mention one last thing about Cyborg, actually. Since we were talking about his costume, like, since he was so integrated with the mother boxes, was it your take? It was mine. That his costume was sort of reminiscent of like the apocalyptian, like the silver shards and glimmer and stuff. I thought that was intentional.
Yeah, I mean, I think my knowledge of New 52 era Cyborg going into the theatrical made me aware that there was that connection. And you see his dad try to use the mother box to heal him, and it just kind of grafted all over his body. But that was the entirety of all you get to know about that connection. In the theatrical. And in this one, they at least like talk about, they fully show, like, he explains to the Justice League, yeah, my dad used the mother box on me, watch, here it goes, like all this stuff. And like, so Steppenwolf has some line about like, you have the scent on you or something. I can't remember, but it was
the scent of the mother box.
Smell the mother on
yeah.
He could smell. I smell mother.
It's so nice.
You smell good. Yeah, you smell good.
The Whedon cut kind of tried to rely on you remembering that 20-30 second scene in BVS.
Yeah,
where Bruce is looking at the video where he recreates where he uses the mother box to create Cyborg. But I like this better, kind of like hinting, and maybe you remember, maybe you don't, but there's at least an explanation if you don't.
It's always been something that I thought was weird about the theatrical, is like they expect you to accept this such tonal change, but then if you're like, oh yay, now the kids like the Justice League characters, can you take your kids to see Justice League? They're like, what happened before Justice League? Oh, we're not going to show you that movie. Like what? What are you supposed to do in that situation? At least with this, like, you can have a fully rounded experience watching the three movies, except for, of course, just him kind of blatantly cliffhangering the ending. But
and kids can just watch it when their parents aren't at home and they get past their password protection. Yeah,
there you go.
Like the rest of us did.
It's always been weird to me that that's what Warner Brothers thinks that we want, that we as 10-year-olds watching Justice League stuff want the funny, colorful, funny stuff. Like that was fine. It's fine to me now, I guess. But like when I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old watching these cartoons, or the old cartoons, I was never like, man, I wish this was funnier. Like I was into all the badass action stuff way more, the DBZ stuff. But
are you telling me you don't appreciate Critters?
Oh, I do now.
Well, like I've always appreciated Critters, unironically. So
we're really in one of the first generations that's had like a serious Justice League. Like, before that was Super Friends. Was the like people knew that through the 70s and 80s, and even in the comic book world, like the Justice League comic book wasn't really to be taken seriously until the 1980s, where it had more, like the stories just had more gravity to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
recent phenomenon.
The Super Friends Justice League was very specifically designed to not be offensive, which is why nobody threw any punches or fought any fights.
Joss Whedon's Justice League, but it failed.
And yet it still had characters like Samurai and Apache Chief. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Offensive to I should say offensive to people who to children.
Yes, sure.
Because as children we had no idea. How badly that was being done.
The stereotype.
It's like, oh, an Indian guy.
So Starro's in this movie, sort of.
Yeah.
I caught that too.
That was cool.
I really enjoyed that. Yep. When it first happened, I was like, that's a purple crab-like thing? Oh, wait, it's a starfish.
Yeah. Reading his mind. Yeah.
A technical variation on the theme.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very cool, like, because the mind-bendy bug is a reoccurring trope in all sci-fi superhero stuff, but the way this one did it, where it projects the image in your mind so that the person can visually look at it, I thought it was a nice touch. Was a nice
it
twist
was Steppenwolf's
on the
Wrath
trope.
of Khan slugs.
Yes. And also, am I the only one that thought Doomsday was bigger?
Oh, here we go. Here we fucking go.
I thought he was more medium-sized.
He just seemed way bigger in that flashback at the beginning. Like I don't remember him being a giant.
One of my friends watching it with me kept unironically, like unintentionally calling him Solomon Grundy when we were talking about it. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, and we're like, "No, that's Doomsday." And they're like, "Oh, that was Doomsday." Like, yeah, I understand why you wouldn't know that. But...
He had the spikes come out
when Batman v Superman came out, and I remember seeing like on Facebook people talking about Solomon Grundy, and like.
That would be such a
Grundy
though. Like,
yeah, that was it was kind of similar. I mean, like born of a swamp, born of a liquidy Kryptonian ship.
Yeah,
no,
I guess so.
Sort of similar.
Space Grundy. For a new age.
So we don't know when he would. Can we get like a day of the week for when Batman v Superman takes place?
I was about to say,
what if it was a Monday?
Was it a Monday? Oh no.
Hold on. Look at all the DCAU timeline now.
Maybe it was Solomon Doomsday. I don't know.
Born on your boomsday.
Well,
actually, the musical track, the soundtrack track for the Doomsday scene is called Tuesday.
Oh.
Because it was supposed to keep you from spoiling that part of the movie, even though it was in the goddamn trailer. But
okay, but hear me out here. Do we know what time it was in Batman v Superman? Because he could have died. Because it could have been stroke of midnight. Doomsday is born. It's still Monday. Works out.
As soon as Lex Luthor says "Your Doomsday," that's when it turns midnight. It's New Year's Eve. If you start Batman v Superman at exactly 10:23 p.m. on December 31st,
2012.
Yeah.
Make sure to go back.
You can die right before Doomsday comes in, and the movie's better.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of commentary on all the characters, but except
it was a Friday. It was a Friday, November 13th, 2015. However, that does line up specifically with the November 2015 Paris attacks.
Oh no.
A series of coordinated Islamist terrorist attacks that took place on Friday the 13th, November 2015 in Paris, France, and the city's northern... That was a thing that happened? How did I forget about that? Huh.
Because Doomsday was attacking Superman.
So the entirety of Zack Snyder's DCEU, I guess, is not just 9/11, but radical Islamist terrorism all the way through.
There is a bit of that at the beginning of Batman vs Superman. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
We talked a little bit about this in our last recorded episode. I'll probably post this one earlier, but in our last recorded episode, we talked a little bit about how this cut, Snyder kind of has the benefit of hindsight with the production of this movie. He can kind of, like, there's no way that his seeing people's reactions to things that he actually did that he did in the Whedon cut doesn't influence his decisions now.
Although he's never seen the Whedon cut.
Supposedly. Yeah.
But he's probably heard he's probably heard discourse around it. He's definitely heard people
He's seen memes for sure.
Yeah. So, and also the other thing is that, like, he's had more time to process his daughter's death, and that had to have an impact with how he sees the world and impact his art. So I can't imagine that didn't have a profound impact on how he approached this cut.
There was no way this was ever going to be literally what we would have seen in 4 years ago had he stayed on the movie. I almost feel like the Starro edition might even be something that he put in, or that someone said, hey, this would be cool if you put this in, to just kind of add something that fans would like or whatever, that they would actually like instead of what Warner Brothers thinks they would like or whatever. I mean, it could have been in there, but it just kind of felt added in. Like if that CGI model was not in the scene would be exactly the same kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I read that he put Ryan Choi in to like set up a potential movie that was going to be set in China with him as the main character, like leading a new team or something. Yeah. So that was supposed to be like a backdoor pitch in a way.
But don't you love how Josh just removed almost all of the non-white people and was like, yeah, no, we're not doing
that. Do you want a white Russian family?
Right.
Yeah.
Mark, what were you saying of the character that we haven't talked about?
Well, I was saying we've talked about all the males so far. I guess we kind of talked about Aquaman. I was just thinking about
time to talk about Mera.
Did anyone?
Time to talk about inexplicably British accented this time Mera.
Real quick about Mera, actually. Like WB asked her, like pressured her off of Aquaman too. So this is probably the last time we'll ever see Amber Heard play Mera. And like, so
I heard that wasn't true.
Oh, is it not true?
No, like it's filming soon. I thought like she's still attached to it.
Oh.
I thought she was. I thought she was fired. I didn't.
I thought she was fired too. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah. Like, I hope she will be in it because
in America.
if like, the last we see of Mera is her in Nightmare going like, you know what he did to Arthur? Like if that's the last we ever see of her.
Hello,
it'll be incredible.
Snopes says that the rumor is unproven, so it's still in the air. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah. Didn't realize that. Okay.
But anyway, Mark wanted to talk about Wonder Woman, I think.
Yeah.
Basically, it doesn't seem like I don't hear a lot of discourse around Wonder Woman in this cut, and I don't know if that means that nobody cared, or if it just means that she came across fine in this.
Other than the Steve Trevor argument removal, I think that she basically stayed the same. Like not much changed about her as a character.
She wasn't called in for reshoots.
I enjoyed her. I enjoyed the way that she was represented here much more than Wonder Woman 84 did. I enjoy the focus on her just being a badass. I would like for Zack Snyder after this, let's wait on Justice League 2 for a second. Let's sit on that. But let's get a Zack Snyder like Amazon mythology and an Atlantis mythology movie. Not even an Aquaman or a Wonder Woman movie. Just like going back into those civilizations, because it seems like
Xerxes tried to take over Themyscira.
From the way that they were like that, both of those characters and their like, I guess, lineage or whatever the fuck you want to call it was handled here. It just felt like it had a lot of weight, much more weight than their solo movies even did. And I want to know what's going on with those places. And I think Zack did a really good job.
The Amazons and Atlanteans were at war a long time ago.
The Flashpoint universe.
I was like, I would like to see that, please.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't remember if it was Gail Simone who I saw this post from back when Justice League was still in early production, but there was some discussion about how Snyder's Amazonians had a complete costume redesign from the Patty Jenkins one, where they were like less practical looking and more
show the midriff.
Yeah, they were sexier outfits than the ones that we saw in Wonder Woman,
a movie that took place 70 years prior to this movie or whatever.
yeah. So I wonder. I never did get to actually go to like outside of the two photos that the tweet used to verify that, but I wonder if that's a problem.
Well, I know.
Well, I mean, if I remember that correctly, like you actually had the Amazonian stunt women going but it's it's been a while. I know exactly the thing you're talking about, Mark. But if I remember right, the actual women who were in them were the ones in the Justice League were comfortable and easier to maneuver in because they weren't whatever.
And here's the
thing. Again, it's been a while.
Here's the thing, though. Gail's immediate response to Justice League was, "I loved it. This is exactly what I wanted." And also, the Amazons. Yeah. Oh my god. So yeah, I think she's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it was Gail. I have a vague recollection that it was Gail, but it might have been just another random person on my Twitter feed. Yeah. But I will say that I thought, obviously, I'm a straight guy, so my perspective is going to be dramatically different.
That. You said you don't like boob falls.
Yeah, well, I'm super strict. No, wait.
No.
I hate that they ruined that expression. No. So I thought it looked immensely cool when we're showing the Amazonians trying to I forget precisely what the scene I'm thinking of is, but it's during the scene where Steppenwolf has come through the boom tube and they're trying to keep the box from him in the room, and you can see the Amazonians straining to either knock the pillars out or to hold him down, and you can see their ab muscles straining. And I just remember commenting to my wife those are extremely strong looking women. It sells to me that these women are powerful. But again, straight male saying that he liked the women's abs. I don't, for whatever that's worth.
Mark, you don't think all women are powerful?
Well, physically powerful.
Zeus had
Mark,
an 8-pack of abs.
Yeah, he really did. Jesus Christ.
I completely forgot that I guess that Zeus character was in different DCEU movies before this. And when Sissy and I were watching it, we both thought 300 was all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, I immediately called him Leonidas. Yeah.
It's more until he started shooting lightning, it was just oh wait, that's not the same character.
I think he's only in the other Justice League. I don't think
and then you found out he's 9 feet tall.
I think he was in Wonder Woman.
Maybe Ares was definitely back for that.
Zeus is in Wonder Woman as a painting montage thing, but
we don't see Zeus actually in the Yeah.
I do remember thinking when they were showing the whole like behind the scenes cast of all the Greek gods there, and they're showing like, oh, this buff guy played Ares. I was like, oh, so Professor Lupin's out. He's not Ares anymore.
He was there in the credits.
I wanted to see the push broom mustache again.
They must have CGI'd his face on there or something.
I was kind of thinking they did, because there was a moment where he swings his axe down on Darkseid's shoulder, his blood coming out, and they show a close up of his screaming face, and I was like, "Oh no, wait, that is Professor Lupin!" Like he definitely
did. He have the mustache
face on there. He had like a full like goatee or something, but yeah. So I think
so that was
like
that was my only.
That's his face or something.
They called his name in the credits.
Okay. That was my only like for all the complaints that people had about the original Wonder Woman's climactic scene. The only issue that I had was that he had the stupid mustache even when he was
still
young.
had the mustache.
Me too. Oh, that was great. What are you talking about?
The DCAU has a
really
bad track record
off
with
his mustache.
But now I feel like that it's canon. It should be there all the time. So I was actually ironically disappointed that I couldn't see it.
Oh well.
When Artemis, I think it is, in that scene shoots a giant exploding arrow at one of the Apocalypse ships, we were all sitting there going, "Why didn't you do that many, many more times? Like, just do that constantly."
Didn't she shoot the giant arrow that lit the fires of Gondor earlier in the movie?
That was Hippolyta.
Hippolyta.
Oh yeah, she did that one.
Come back to me, Diana, or something to that effect.
When we watched the theatrical again, we didn't catch that. So Steppenwolf just gets away on Themyscira, and they're like, "We have to light the fire of whatever." And then Hippolyta says, or no, what's her face? Other Amazon says like, "The fire has not burned for 5,000 years. They won't know what it means." And my friends were like, "Fire?" Like we didn't hear the word "the." We're like, fire hasn't burned for humans don't know what fire is? What are you talking about? Of course they do.
Isn't Wonder Woman only 5,000 years old, according to Cyborg?
Yeah, I guess
how does she know what the fire means?
Because she went into the Darkseid cave and saw.
I mean, the fire brought her to the cave.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Well, and the temple is the.
Born.
Maybe she learned about it in Amazon school. Yeah. It's like there's
also the news report called the temple of the Themyscirans or something to that effect.
I thought they called it the Temple of Artemis.
Well, yeah, something about that plot hole wise in the theatrical is that like Diana is so like she sees a fire on the news and goes like, "Oh shit, I guess that's the signal."
Yeah,
and that's it. But in this one, she at least goes to confirm that it was the arrow and not just some like 12-year-olds that torch the place or something. You know, like what if it like, oh, I'm gonna pyro this building. Oh, that means Darkseid's coming. That's not, I'm sorry. I was just messing around. Like
I loved that whole Indiana Jones scene where she like puts the arrow in the wall and goes to the cabinets with the old ancient painting.
Yeah.
I love any type of Indiana Jones scene.
Yeah.
I really want to see more of like just archaeologist Diana. Like,
yeah.
Me and Sirius were talking like the other day about things that could happen in Aquaman 2. And one of the things I put forward is like because like the like proto name they put out is like a reference to like this lost city that shows up every few thousand years. I imagine Diana would be all in for like going in for that. So like I'm honestly hoping that if it is like going to be like this lost city thing, that she tags along as one of the cast members. I doubt it, but it'd be really cool.
It would be really cool.
And she and Aquaman can be lovers, and she can chop off Mira's head.
Who needs Mira?
Yeah. Perfect.
So Martian Manhunter. I want to talk Martian Manhunter. We haven't talked Martian Manhunter.
Yes. I didn't like the CGI, but I liked the character.
That was something I really wanted out of the 2017 version, was just a little Martian Manhunter cameo in some way, and I got it here, and I wasn't like totally sold. I didn't hate it, but it was just so strange that he disguised himself as Martha to go
and
I'm going to get like Lois.
The world needs you too, Lois.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have made a lot more sense had they like cut that hallway scene out and just had like the reveal of Martian Manhunter be at the very end after the nightmare scene.
Well, I think the insinuation Snyder had some plan for Lois that I don't think was explained in this movie at all. But Lois is the key. That's the thing that he's been drilling into our heads since BVS. So I feel like Manhunter knows that too, has some sense of that, and that's why he was there. At least he's part of that.
Too. So he's been
at least he's part of that through line where Lois is the key.
Yeah,
I just want to know because, like, at the end when he's giving his name to Ben Affleck, he's just like, "And some people call me the Martian Manhunter."
That was
and it's
so
just
dumb.
like, it's just like, my man. Who calls you that? Like,
why? Why don't
who knows?
You haven't
You
reached
exist.
to anybody.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about you.
I mean, maybe it was his work name on Mars. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's like calling you the American something. It's like that's stupid.
Yeah. It's like I say. Some people call me the Digital Jedi when actually that's a name I gave myself.
It's like the thing about that is that I got the impression from that because he does say like he's lived several lives. So like I assume that we're meant to believe that he was a John Jones at one point, the detective.
Yeah.
But like he did have to be like, well, I can't explain this forever, so I have to fake my death.
And now infiltrate the United States government as a top-ranking general.
Yeah, and then stand by while Solomon Grundy beats the Pope out of Superman and do nothing. Yeah.
Right?
Did we know before going into this that that actor was supposed to be Martian Manhunter? Because I don't read too much DCEU. I thought that was cool myself. I liked that actor is, you know.
I remember having this discussion, but it's like at one point at what point during Snyder's like ideas for this universe, when did he go, oh, and Swanwick was Martian Manhunter the whole time?
Yeah,
because like
I
and
think
was he Martha the whole time? Was he Martha when the kids came back to the farm and in the warehouse scene, or when they hugged and Lois said, "You smell nice"? Like
was he?
It's like the Skrull theory. Martha's been a Manhunter all this time.
Martha Manhunter.
Why did you say that?
It's been right in front of us the whole time.
God.
So we did talk about. I guess we didn't talk about Aquaman all that much.
I was kind of upset that we did not get the hook hand in this movie. I know that like there's an Aquaman movie afterwards that like has both hands and everything, but like going into this I was just like, you know what, Snyder's the gritty dark guy, he'll find a way to chop a hand off, and instead we just got a nightmare scene where he's dead.
Yeah,
the one thing, Aquaman's the one character in this where I like him just slightly less, and it's only because like the one Whedon edition that I actually really like is an Invis, where it's like he's resting on the lasso of truth and he ends up going on that whole monologue about all of his feelings. Like I always really like that, and it's not in this, and it's like that's the one thing from a Whedon cut I like more than the Snyder version, other than like the cyborg suit and Superman's final suit after being resurrected, which even then, in both of those cases, it's like that's something you bring in right at the end of a movie. But whereas with this, it's like it's a whole scene. So that's just my thing.
And Aquaman in the original has just a lot of like the whole like Bruce Wayne saying, "I hear you can talk to fish." It was in the Comic-Con preview, so clearly it was going to be in the Zack Snyder Justice League movie originally, but it's taken out of this, which is like one of many reasons why I don't fully believe that Zack has not seen the theatrical at any point during the creation of this version. I can understand him not having seen it at the time because, the whole thing about like Christopher Nolan came to his house and said, hey, don't go see that. You're just going to be sad. But, someone put up on YouTube a side-by-side of the Superman fight scene in the courtyard after he comes back. And some of the shots are frame for frame, like the exact same shot. Like the cut is at the same moment that, everything. So it's like either he said like, if Zack Snyder had some sort of rule, I will not watch the theatrical cut no matter what. I'm just going to make my movie. At the very, very least, he still opened up the premiere file of the original and copy pasted, like it's the same edit for some of that
unless
stuff. So.
That was like his original footage and it was just stuff that
or the other version
really more likely.
The Joss Whedon version's editor just didn't change any of that.
That's
the other possibility.
Because like that's what I was gonna bring it up with Diana, but like there's a lot in this movie that you see where it's like, okay, so that is in the theatrical version, but the editing, for whatever reason, has gone and cut it down by maybe 3 seconds. Like it's taken
or added 3 seconds.
Like we're going to get Ben Affleck in with a shitty wig and composite him in, and you'll have to pretend like you don't notice how bad he looks in the Aquaman scene. But like, it definitely comes in. Like there was a really brief one earlier, like with where Diana atomizes that guy, and like just the scene where she goes to like the little girl. I think we see her crouching down in the Whedon version of the movie, but like just that little exchange where it's like can I be like you one day, or like you can be whatever you want to be. I thought that was like that was like kind of hokey, but like I kind of like that.
It was
just, like,
so charming.
That moment.
I loved that bit.
That moment was not bad. It was like it was felt a little out of nowhere, but I think that moment, that 30 seconds hit the point of what Wonder Woman is more than the entirety of Wonder Woman 84.
Well, heaven forbid we have a moment for women in a superhero movie. Like a moment, like a frame of women and a female empowerment in a superhero movie. And
where a woman goes to a young girl and says, you can be whatever you want.
Which almost happened with Martha and Lois, but it wasn't Martha.
It was John Jones who inexplicably knew all about Martha's situation with the farm and selling the house and everything.
Which makes me think he's a Martha the whole time.
Well, he has a mind reader. So
did he put the real Martha in a closet for a sec to?
Maybe Martha never sold the farm. That's how she was still at the farm later. I don't know.
She was like, "Hold on, for sale? What the fuck?"
This is our new Yellow
Taking that back.
How long was Martian Manhunter Martha?
We'll never know. What about the Icelandic song at the beginning where they smell Aquaman's sweater?
It's weird, but I love
That's what they're singing is, you smell good. You smell good.
There was a lot of smelling in this movie that I didn't realize.
It set me up for it to be a musical, and I was kind of disappointed there weren't more like musical numbers throughout the whole.
So I guess that leads into the use of slow-mo in this movie overall, and just like moments that are dragged out for far longer than they necessarily needed to be. But at the same time, I don't remember really any moments like this is a 4-hour movie, and I don't really remember like I gotta go get a drink or something.
I think
like
I
that.
agree with Mattie in general that the slow-mo was like well used in this, and it felt right. Except there was only one time that I felt like it was gratuitous, other than I think the hot dog moment that we were talking about.
I wonder if it could be the same one I'm thinking.
I don't think it is, because this was a very, very specific moment. It was in the theatrical version when you see the dude out on a boat be saved by Aquaman, and then he slams him down into the bar. The drink's on him, and leaves, and he's all moody and stuff. In theatrical, it starts on the shot of the boat. You hear the guy immediately going, Mayday, Mayday, like, oh, fucking, I'm dying. And then Aquaman's there and saves him. In this version, there's like 10, 15 seconds of just rushing water and air and droplets in the air before then you see the boat, and then you just stay on the boat for so long, and then you finally hear the Mayday, Mayday, and I was like, yeah, okay, Zack Snyder, I get it. All right, it's a boat. I understand. It's a boat. Like I don't know. That was the only part.
It's
It
the
was
white Portuguese.
so picky. It's
his
so
establishing his establishing shot was perhaps needlessly artistic.
Of the Solomon Grundy stabbing shot. That was good.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mattie, what was your thing that wasn't?
I mean, the only time that like the slow mo really bothered me was when they were had Hippolyta running out of the temple from Steppenwolf, and like she's just going so slow. It took me a second to even register that it was slow mo and that it wasn't just the actor just going ridiculously slow on purpose.
Wait, shit! I thought that's what she was doing. I thought she was a really shitty runner. Fuck.
This box is so heavy.
I was like, what are you talking about, slow-mo?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she was. Maybe she was. I don't know. But like just that part, I was just like, this is a very high stakes thing. Everything in front of it is like super fast paced. Everything after it is pretty fast paced. Like, why is she just fucking dawdling?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this in our. Oh, go, Danny. We have to do the Danny lag sometimes.
Sorry. I was just gonna say that, like, yeah, that was the point where I like noted down. Oh my god, cut it with the slow mo, Zack. It's like it'd been increasingly annoying me throughout like the movie up to that point, but like that was where I just lost it. But then it got better afterwards, so it wasn't so bad overall. It's just like in the first like third of a movie, or quarter of a movie, I was just very like, no, this is silly. Stop.
It's so weird to me how 300, all the slow-mo stuff where they speed ramp it, you know, like now it's really fast, now it's really slow where they're fighting. Like that was the coolest thing when I was 15 watching 300, you know, like that was, and then now it's just like the trope of, Zack Snyder always does slow motion. Like, you liked it then, don't lie to me.
I still like it. None of it bothered me.
Yeah.
And
it was cool to me when I watched it at 30 something.
For me, it's a good way to slow it down and like make it like look like a panel from a comic book for like a couple more seconds than it would normally.
To check out what's going on.
Yeah.
I enjoy that kind of like where you get to like gather a sense of everything that's happening, because in like really fast battles where a lot of things are happening, you play it through at standard speed or even sped up like some fight scenes are. You're going to miss stuff that you can only catch on a rewatch. But with that slowing down, stopping, starting, you can sometimes just take a moment to catch your breath and like, here's what's about to follow through.
Especially when these characters have super speed.
Yes.
Yeah. Something I really wanted to talk about was the after Superman gets resurrected, like the scene where he's like preparing to take off in the new black suit, i.e. my favorite scene in the whole movie. Like, I don't believe we've talked about that yet. I love every single aspect of that scene. Like, just hearing like both of his dads, like just kind of like prepping him up in his head, like the swelling of the music, and like seeing like the earth kind of shape around his knuckles as he's preparing to take off. Like, it's just such a good moment. And it's like, this feels exactly what like it reminded me so much of the first fight scene for Man of Steel, and that is probably my favorite scene in Man of Steel. So like it made me very, very happy.
You gotta love that soundtrack, the Man of Steel theme song. Love it whenever those tones play.
We haven't talked about the music very much, but that was a moment where I was actually kind of laughing. Not that scene, but when he comes back and punches Steppenwolf a shit ton, there's a like heroic, more major chord version of the Man of Steel theme playing, which was cool. But it was like, also like
or something like that.
Well, it was like in the Danny Elfman score for the original one, he's shoving in the Batman and Superman themes from other versions, from the 70s and 80s of those characters that are not these characters. and it felt so out of place. But at the same time, the Man of Steel theme is meant to be maybe like a kind of more somber, thought-provoking, and less like da da da, it's Superman. So when they turn it into that, it felt a little silly to me, but I did enjoy the fact that it was there and there was continuity with the music this time instead of just like, oh, it's Beetlejuice.
Chunky XL did the music for this time around, and it was awesome.
Which he worked with Hans Zimmer on BVS, so there was there's the crossover transition of he understands when you show Batman, play the Batman thing. When you show Wonder Woman, play the Wonder Woman thing. Not just like, I'm going to make up completely new stuff. That'll be good, right?
Yeah. So speaking of the music and of things that seem to annoy people, I noticed that people got, at least a handful of people were annoyed by the use of the choral. Was it the choral? The opera?
For the Ancient Lamentations?
The Ancient Lamentations, yes. Thank you.
For Wonder Woman?
For Wonder Woman.
It happened it happened like 4 times.
I liked it.
I liked it too.
I didn't notice it that I thought
that never bugged me. I feel like a lot of the complaining about that is just that people have the captions on, and so they're recognizing musical cues now. They're forced to acknowledge that the same music comes back over and over.
Yeah.
Does it say that? Does it say Ancient Lamentations when it happens?
Yes. Every time it says Ancient Lamentations.
Yeah, it did.
Or something along those lines.
It's definitely one to add to the drinking game. Like, take a shot every time the Ancient Lamentations.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
I didn't have the captions on, but like, it's so, for me, it was like so noticeable. And I was like, the first couple times I heard it, I was like, the first time I was like, okay, where's the Wonder Woman theme? But then the Wonder Woman theme comes on like a moment later, so I'm fine. And the second time they mixed it with a Wonder Woman theme, and I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool. But then like most of the times I heard it throughout the rest of the movie, I'm just like, okay, now I'm beginning to get sick of it. And by the end, I was like, please stop playing this every time Wonder Woman does something. It's like maybe it was used less. I would like it more, but I just kind of got sick of it.
Just maybe one time too many.
I honestly didn't like notice it beyond the one scene, so for me it kind of was like subconscious.
4 times, I think.
It felt like 4 times.
The shot of her leaping through the air in slow mo to chop off Steppenwolf's head was repurposed for the Whedon cut for her to chop his head off.
Right.
Which
really,
I guess it was like it's definitely just the exact same shot, but it obviously much cooler here. It's just weird that, like, I just don't understand some of the choices they made of, like, okay, we can't cut his head off, but just use that shot anyway. We'll cut something else instead of just not using it. Like, I don't know.
So freeze breath was always going to be. Is it safe to assume that freeze breath was always going to be in this movie?
Destroyer,
yeah. I was about to say,
that was so cool.
Except at least this time it didn't have. It wasn't accompanied by the sound effect of. Theatrical.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
So we touched a little bit on the bigger Doomsday opening this movie, but I wanna bring up the fact this is one for Sirius and Danny, that with bigger Doomsday being the opener for this movie. And Deathstroke being ending, I really think we're bookended to set up a Zack Snyder's Legion of Coom.
Oh boy!
But where's Bane? We need Bane.
This is why I don't get on the
I'm right there with you, James.
The Deathstroke scene had a hand job joke in it.
Yeah,
I think Zack Snyder's been in the chat.
Wait, there were two. No. There were 2 hand job jokes in this movie.
No, but like Deathstroke was in the hand job joke scene. Because he was
yeah.
I thought there was one. No, there's one in the nightmare scene too.
So
that's what we're talking about.
For those of you on the call that haven't been privy to the voice chat discussion,
listening to the podcast,
we've set up this character who started off just being named Deathstroke, and I think we've changed his name to Meatstroke by this point. But essentially his superpower is that if he off, he dies.
Oh.
Oh no!
It's a literal death stroke, and our narrative so far is that
isn't that
bigger
super hurting?
Is it? Quick question: is it just him? Like, if it's a masturbation scenario, or if it's like,
or can someone knock him off? Yeah.
Yes. Well,
I thought it was just like if he dies, he dies.
Okay.
It's something along those lines, but
yeah.
So
that's a very important
we've set up in our narrative that bigger Doomsday is kind of like the Octodad from that game, where he's just like he's part of a suburban family, but like has to act as if, oh, I'm not really an alien, I'm a human. And he has human children, but the backstory on them is that since he couldn't impregnate his wife, these are Deathstroke's children. He gave up his life to be a surrogate for, I guess, his wife or something, so she doesn't have to deal with the trauma of his dead body on top of her.
And what do you guys think about the Joker in this movie?
And the semen got swapped out.
I didn't see any of this in the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, so should this be a Patreon exclusive?
I have no opinions.
I'm glad that Mattie,
Legion of Coom edit.
Mattie, I'm glad you get to let these story ideas out in your bigger Doomsday lore so that they don't find their way into the Watchtower Database.
Air them out.
Get it all out there,
just wait, James. Next Watchtower Database arc, Aaron is actually my child.
Oh no!
Oh no!
So the epilogue.
No.
Yeah,
can we talk about the epilogue?
Secret.
Can we?
Can
we spoil this one?
Yes.
Let's talk about epilogue,
please. Anything but Doomsday and Deathstroke.
Excuse me, bigger Doomsday.
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah, get it right.
Solomon Grundy. I mean,
just wait until you meet
Zack
Brody.
Snyder. Should Zack Snyder have kept epilogue a secret?
No.
I loved it. I want more of it. I want more Deathstroke. Just all Deathstroke all the time. Give me a fucking Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke movie.
Yeah, we do need to see him. That, like, obviously it's supposed to set up Ben Affleck's Batman movie, like the whole scene with him on the ship.
Yeah,
and everything.
Kill Batman for me.
Yeah.
Has your opinion on Jared Leto's Joker softened any, or is it about the same?
It was better here, but I still don't like it. I
always thought Jared Leto could.
Oh, sorry,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. I was just saying.
Continue your thought, Danny.
10 seconds from now, when you hear this, talk.
I liked him better here than I liked him in Suicide Squad, but that's not saying much because he's the thing that brings Suicide Squad down for me. I still I'm not the biggest fan, mostly because like Jared Leto's a creep, so it just naturally puts things off for me.
All of this stuff
makes him a good Joker.
Well, I got something to tell you about the Joker, Danny.
He's kind of a creep. He's a great actor, though. I just saw him in The Little Things. Wasn't that what it was called? I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, I always thought that Jared Leto could be a good Joker, but he just was not given good material to work with,
and he still wasn't, in my opinion.
And since then, I found out like how big of a weirdo he is, and I'm just like, I've soured on him as a whole. I don't want him to continue to be Joker just because I don't want to have to. Like, it's so weird. This movie like has so many like cruddy people in it between him and Amber Heard, and like I don't know if anyone else is gonna agree with me, but like Gal Gadot being like a fucking IDF fighter.
Yeah,
Ezra Miller's had some stuff Ben Affleck's had some problems too.
Yeah, like Ben Affleck had the whole Me Too thing come out. And like it's so bizarre to me, like the difference between like Disney just throwing everyone away except for Jeremy Renner the second anything happens, and WB's just like, no, I'm collecting them.
Yeah. Put them all in one movie. Yeah.
God,
make it 4 hours long.
I mean, God, it's honestly surprising Bill Cosby wasn't Silas Stone.
Oh no!
You want Steppenwolf? Steppenwolf, voiced by Louis C.K.
They bring Kevin Spacey back to be
yeah, oh my God.
Dr. Fate is he's sorry. I don't know.
Oh, no.
He's okay. He's okay.
Oh, I was thinking that.
Well,
Jared Leto's batshit
produced
insane.
by Harvey Weinstein.
That could have happened.
Yeah, it probably was originally.
Hashtag cancel the Snyderverse.
We've done it.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm sure there's more to say about the nightmare stuff, but part of the epilogue was that Jon Jones closing scene. And I remember whenever the theatrical came out, there was like an article about a week or two later talking about like, here's what you missed. Here's what could have been in the movie if Zack Snyder continued. A lot of it got debunked. A lot of it wound up not actually being in this. But one of the things that I remember latching onto was that the movie was supposed to end with a scene of Bruce Wayne waking up in his glass house to a green light, and he would go outside and there would be Green Lanterns floating there, and they're like, hey, we know Darkseid's coming, do you want some help? And I wonder if that is the Jon Jones scene, and they just replaced the Green. I mean, it must be, but I was looking for his dialogue to say something a little more Green Lantern.
By the way, some people call me the Green Lantern.
Yeah, something more forced to fit into the Green Lantern scene that wasn't like, because I assumed that people got so excited about his Jon Jones storyboard that he released of the Martha transformation that he was like, well, I should probably put more Jon Jones in this instead of the Green Lantern stuff. But I've also heard that Warner Brothers apparently said you can't use Green Lantern, but I wonder why he didn't say, well, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want, because that's what he did for the rest of the movie, so I don't know.
Yeah, they told him not to do the epilogue scene, and he did it anyway.
I mean, it's not like it matters, because, his movie was allegedly it's not going to continue anyway, so he could really do whatever he wanted with no restriction.
I don't think it should. That might be my hot take. I don't think it should continue. I think this is fine. Let it exist on its own. Do something else going forward. I don't know.
It's a very unique.
You say that, but I still need Joe Manganiello Deathstroke.
Yeah. I do want Joe Manganiello.
It's Warner Brothers. But it's Warner Brothers. They're going to reevaluate that. They're very reactionary when it comes to any movie that they make.
Oh, they love this too. They want this, and then we'll be like, "Yes, we actually did want this. You f***ing idiots!" Like the whole time, that was what we wanted.
It's something that I've.
But they also wanted
they
wanted their Christmas bonuses, which is why the 2017 version happened the way it did.
Yeah. Well, it's something that I've said before, is that like WB is like a lot of the older 100-year-old studios where they're just like either the movie needs we need to take all the salt out of this movie, or we need to add gobs more salt instead of looking at the individual ingredients, what made that good. So they're just like, oh, so you'd like jokes. We're going to add jokes to our next movie. Right. Oh, you don't like jokes that much. We're going to make the next movie really, really dark. Instead of like, jokes. It's like, maybe Suicide Squad was the one movie that needed to be dark.
I hate that laugh so much.
It's so bad in the
He's got
Snyder
sand
Cut.
in his throat. That's what it is.
Like,
it's borderline the penguin laugh.
yeah. Like the thing about that last Martian Manhunter scene, though, is that like Zack Snyder did say again, like it was supposed to be the Green Lantern scene, but on top of that, he did say it's like apparently he'd filmed it, and it was going to be Jon Stewart, but like I was under the impression it was going to be like Kilowog and Tomar Ray, like alien lanterns, but. It's like, no, apparently that was going to be Jon Stewart there.
So John was just going to be sitting out Steppenwolf's attack.
He would have just rocked up. Like, he would have just made it after the fight, I guess. Like,
he would have been just like DCAU Jon Stewart.
He should have had Ryan Reynolds floating right behind him, not saying a word, just there, and then fly away.
Superman gets stabbed through the chest by Solomon Grundy's penis, and then he goes... Oh, he rocks up and goes, sorry I'm late. There was an uprising near Rigel 9. And they're like, what the f***? Are you kidding me? He's right here. He's right here. This is your planet.
Well,
now we got to artificially inseminate, blah, 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 blah.
What? So, there's going to be another version of the movie that's in black and white.
Yeah.
I've heard in May, I think, right? There's a teaser out for it.
It's called Justice in Gray. Is Gray?
I think it's is. Yeah.
Gray of Justice?
50 Shades of Justice?
Yeah.
That should have been what it was called.
Justice
Two
League
Shades
Darker?
of Justice. Yeah, Justice League Darker.
Yes. There you go. I'm looking forward to that. That's probably when I'm going to watch it again.
I think that was one of the main reasons I could stand this being as long as it was just no matter what happens in any of these movies, just every single shot is so beautiful. And like
really is.
That was part of what was missing so much from the Joss Whedon version, was just a very like standard generic studio cinematography that replaced so many of these like glorious visuals. Yeah.
He's extremely artistic in anything that he shoots, and that's probably why his movies have always done reasonably well up to now. So,
like Sucker Punch.
Like Sucker Punch.
I kind of like Sucker Punch.
I've said before on this podcast that I like Sucker Punch, probably for all the wrong
reasons. You went on the record.
Yeah.
Well,
but possibly for all the wrong reasons.
In the future, I would love to see a return to these characters. Like, I'm looking forward to the Flash movie that'll have Ben Affleck in it, back as Batman, and Michael Keaton. That should be really cool. Jeremy Irons he was an amazing Alfred. I don't think he at all. Yeah, he deserves.
Yeah, he is a great. Yeah. I will say that I think this reinforces what I've said before about the DCEU as a whole, is that they should have just stuck to one person's vision, regardless of how badly any one individual film did. Yeah, if they had just done that. But I understand that there were extenuating circumstances in the case of Justice League. I still think overall they should have just like stuck to Zack Snyder's vision, whether I liked that vision or not, because I think it would have just given the whole universe more cohesion.
Well, and that's what they did here. Like that's why I think this film was successful. It's just that it stuck with the tone established in Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. Whereas Whedon's versions
of the characters aren't for everybody, it's still it was like it's consistent. Okay, we can finally see what this was. Yeah,
it feels solid. It feels solid, and it feels like a follow through.
Yeah. For a sequel, I would really like. I feel like the evil Superman trope has been really played out. So like, I'm not super interested in the nightmare setting, but I do like going back to visit it, and like the epilogue to me was enough to sort of solve the stuff that was being set up in Batman versus Superman, like seeing the Flash in that outfit that we see him travel back in time in. Like, there's enough pieces there where I can kind of put that aside and be like, that's where they were going with it. Okay, I'm happy knowing that now.
And I like the idea that maybe they were trying to subvert that future rather than just ending up with that future.
Yes.
Without, so
very possible. My only other gripe, if you don't, I'm like finishing my little list of things to say real quick. I would have loved to see the new gods also. Like, I mean, like besides the Apocalypse ones, but like Orion or Mr. Miracle or Big Barda. Like, when you're dealing with characters like Darkseid and Steppenwolf, it would have been really cool to see their counterparts on New Genesis. But Ava DuVernay is doing her take on that, so that should whet my appetite.
She's still on that, right?
Yeah, it's still happening now. Co-writing it with Tom King, who did the Mr. Miracle comic book.
I feel like adding in the new gods would have been a bit much.
It might have convoluted it a little bit.
Yeah, we hardly even got like Darkseid. Like we got some Darkseid, but like if we're adding in Orion and Highfather and everything out of nowhere, it just that's. I mean, it's already a 4-hour movie, Ted.
Well, I would have
and the thing we didn't
wall drawing or something, you know, like there's Orion's helmet, something.
And
like
the thing we didn't actually talk about was like Darkseid. Like I don't think he looked as good as I like Darkseid to look, but he acted like Darkseid to me. What do y'all think?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I think I would have made him a little thicker, but other than that, I appreciate it.
Bigger Darkseid,
stomping on Steppenwolf's head there at the end.
Yeah,
that was. Oh yeah, that's dark. That's something Darkseid would do.
I did think it was kind of funny that like he's standing there in a portal looking at the Justice League, and he just decides like, bye.
Well, that's very Darkseid.
Like,
very
Darkseid.
Darkseid.
Goodness is right behind him.
Why would he
gone for it?
Why would he pick a fight? Like he can take the time to ruminate and plan.
Yeah, but if he has every single opposition to him in one room and millions of parademons at his back, just start now. Just do
that's
it.
a bad idea. Take them if they're not in the same room. Take them one by one.
I feel like he's like there's too many unknowns, and he says we'll do this the old-fashioned way. He's just like planning ahead. I think,
So I think
as long as he doesn't forget where they live.
He could have at least let off one Omega beam and then close the portal because like what the fuck are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Jump through the portal,
like, kill Batman or kill Flash. You go kill someone that's like would not expect it to happen all of a sudden. Yeah.
But
pull a Dan Turpin.
Kill Superman again, right as you brought him back.
Yeah. Before watching this movie, I was scrolling through YouTube and saw like what I thought was a spoiler for the end of the movie that didn't actually wind up being the case. I'm sure it was a scene of in the middle when they're trying to bring Superman back, and you see like all the dead Justice Leaguers and stuff in the future. But I think it was. I think my brain thought it was the end of the movie because the thumbnail was Darkseid looking at him through the boom tube, and the title was like, "End of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Darkseid kills the Justice League." And I was thinking maybe that was the giant, oh my god, cliffhanger. Was that he was just gonna kill? He was just gonna like it would just be so out of nowhere, sudden like. Well, I don't get to do another one of these movies. Everyone dies, like, but not Avengers style of just like literally they die, like they are dead.
That would have been a big middle finger.
I know, yeah.
Everybody.
I kind of was expecting it to happen, but luckily.
But then everyone's fan theory would have been how Lois tries to get the Infinity Gems to bring the Justice League back.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all the Justice League are still in the Soul Stone, but I guess we'll find out.
Lois will go to a small town and make a hex and bring everyone back.
Right.
Natasha
the DC does have their Infinity Gems, don't they? Like,
no, I meant Natasha. When she died to become the Soul Stone, she actually went to the DC universe.
Oh my gosh. It all makes sense.
Sorry, I'm late. There was an uprising near Rigel 9.
Wow, Natasha. Wow. Just like Budapest.
What Lois will do is go back in time, take the Dreamstone, wish to become the Dreamstone, and then bring back all of the Justice League. That is how Part 2 would have gone, and you can't change that or disprove that.
Except it's a DC universe, and the Dreamstone would bring in Dr. Destiny and Sandman, and then we got a whole other thing to deal with.
I'd be fine with that.
And that would have been.
I would too. I like the Dreamstone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you said you only had about an hour and a half to do this. and we've gone over a bit.
Yeah. I think we've pretty much covered most.
Yeah. Was there anything in conclusion that you wanted to add about the Snyder Cut?
Yo, that scene where Cyborg's doing the thing and Steppenwolf almost hits him and Superman just goes, whoosh, no, I'm here. That was the dopest scene in the whole movie. And I don't think we've mentioned it yet. That was the point of the movie where I went from like, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like I'm enjoying myself, I guess, to holy this is a good movie.
Yeah.
Like that was the point. It only took about 3 hours to get there.
It was
but
my opposite take on the Snyder Cut. I was impressed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You heard it here, folks.
Ted liked it.
I
think my favorite meme to come out of it, there's been a bunch of memes so far. My favorite one so far has been Britney Spears comes on, and then it's Steppenwolf going, "It's toxic." That's good.
My favorite Steppenwolf with the sad cat face. Have you seen that one?
Yeah. Cute Steppenwolf is best Steppenwolf.
Yeah. Feel bad for Steppenwolf.
God.
There's already there's a McFarlane Toys Snyder Cut Steppenwolf figure that's already sold out.
Wow.
Of course.
Yeah, in like 2 days. Yeah.
From
people
generic
love him
villain
now,
to
and I'm so glad.
people.
Darkseid's uncle. He was the monkey's uncle.
So the general consensus in the chat is we all
restore the
like
Coomerverse.
No.
Bring it
back.
Yeah.
Also, did any of you notice, like in one of the scenes, like Mirror, like just one last thing, Mirror like blood bended or something?
Yeah, that was fucking cool.
Oh yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
When Steppenwolf went, I was looking through my notes, like, was there anything else I missed? And I just see Mira blood bending. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was really cool.
That's right.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was cool.
I appreciate that they got the Atlantis hair CGI right this time.
Yeah.
I'm glad Mira didn't take
the only thing
on his bed.
I will say the only thing I don't understand about this film, there was just one scene that just left me a little bit perplexed, and I think it was also in the Whedon cut. It was just, hey, Wonder Woman, why don't you fly and help them lift the Nightcrawler out of there?
Oh yeah,
that would have been helpful.
Yeah, or carry a couple of guys.
Cyborg just bursts out of there and flies away, and then you hear Flash go like, thanks, or something. What? Did he just leave? But in this one, he leaves, and there's no line from Flash. So it was like, why did he do that? Like, I know he comes back with the mother box, but it's like a little more confusing. Why didn't you push the Nightcrawler up? Or take Flash out of there instead of Batman trying to hobble him away, like all this stuff.
That was one of the cooler set pieces in the whole movie. The whole scene. That was a great fight scene.
Yeah.
The Nightcrawler is very cool.
When Batman says like, Alfred, I need the Nightcrawler. Like, that's X-Men, dude. You don't get that.
Yeah.
What is how it should have ended? She's like, Wonder Woman is like, are you building a Quinjet? No. It's totally different from a Quinjet.
Not a Quinjet. Yeah. They still kept the shot of CGI Alfred just standing on a platform watching them fly away. As both times, I think, as the ship passes by him, that the blast of wind will just completely knock him off of that platform. And
it's new anti-blast technology or something like that.
I do appreciate at least that in this one, he can't quite get the ship to work, and Cyborg being there is what gets the ship to work. Instead of in the theatrical where the ship works fine, but it just can't go fast enough. And Cyborg's like, it will when I tickle it. And they're like, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, now we're in Russia.
So it was kind of weird for me because we had just watched the season of Black Lightning where they introduced the character of TC, who's a technopath, and he talks to machines, so like he can tell when they're upset or when they like someone or when they're angry. And it was weird. We had just watched like the day before those Black Lightning episodes, and here Cyborg is doing the exact same thing, talking about like, yeah, it wants to fly, or it doesn't like when you do that, or something to that effect.
It's a little bit weird that Cyborg's dad thought like, my extremely depressed son who hates me. Hey, did you know you could launch all the missiles if you wanted? Maybe don't tell him that part.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all of my thoughts.
Excellent.
Thanks for having us, Mark.
One thing I want to say,
Danny.
It was a fun time.
So what I'd like to do is usually. Oh, go ahead, Danny.
Sorry, one last thing I wanted to say was that it was something Mattie alluded to earlier, but like the scene where Vix like helps out that woman who was trying to get money out, and like touching onto like class concerns and class solidarity and all that, I adored that scene, because it's like, there we go. It shows that Vic is compassionate, and like, despite outwardly looking like a robot. Like, it's something I just wanted to touch on, because like it's such a really solid, good scene, like that shows what Vic's character's like. Just really like that moment.
Yeah, I love that too, and I was so scared that she was gonna get robbed as soon as that happened to her. I was like, oh, he did something really great, and then like, oh, it goes so bad. But I'm so glad that didn't happen.
One of my friends was like, only 100,000? All right. You could have done any number.
Hey, that's a big stimulus check. So.
Quiet, it is.
Yeah. My mind out. Anytime
where
somebody
the
does
my stimmy, Joe Biden.
Hello, Governor. That's the only. That's the only British thing.
Yeah,
hello, Governor. Oh, nice.
Get over here, Documenta.
Well, you said you needed us to plug things, Mark. Is it true? Is this true?
We're going to be doing that show with a bit
How
of
do we
accent,
end the
are we?
podcast then?
Is that Mara? Is Mara in here?
Yeah,
Queen of England.
It's me, Queen of the Seas.
I'm gonna take a lorry to the lift to the loo.
Oh, come on, you better take your mother's trident, you know.
Superman's gonna pay for what she did to Arthur.
Oh, God. I'm pretty sure.
Willem Dafoe, we didn't talk about him at all. His hair was disgusting.
He's something of a scientist.
I almost thought I thought about that when like Gordon's like another scientist. Cyborg, I'm something of a scientist myself.
All right, so I'll do my little outward spiel, and then you guys can go home. All right. Thanks again for listening, programs. You can find this podcast on anchor.fm/digitaljedi, and the video version goes up. It goes up later on youtube.com/digitaljedimaster. You can also donate to this podcast at anchor.fm/digitaljedi/support, where you can make a monthly contribution to keep the show afloat and to feed my family, please. I'm also
you put all these links in your show notes, right?
I do indeed. I'm also on a number of other podcasting services. Just visit the Anchor link in the description, and you can see if your favorite service is listed in the Where to Listen section. Be sure to subscribe if you are listening on YouTube, because I need monetization. And hit the bell icon to find out when a new episode is posted, and for when I start making videos again, because I promise I am going to do that very, very, very soon. I want to thank my guests, first of all. James, Ted, Mattie, guys, thanks so much for being on this episode. It was a lot of fun. I'm so glad we got to talk about a DC-related thing. Your debut on my channel is going to be the thing that puts us over the top.
Let's hope for it. Let's manifest this. Let's get Gwyneth Paltrow on the line and make it a reality.
Let's hope this is as big of an event for your channel as the Snyder Cut with the DC movie.
Yes.
This is my Snyder Cut. I never thought I would be saying that.
We just wanted to see Mark's original creative vision. We finally got it.
Make sure you upload the podcast in 4:3.
So you can find us at DCAU Watchtower. That is our handle. All over the place.
On most social medias, yes.
Watchtower Database on YouTube. That's where we do all of our stuff. We're streaming. We stream over there. We've got the Pod Tower, which is a new channel that we made for all of our podcasting and streaming archives.
Which I am not on. I just thought I'd mention that.
That seems like an ask.
When you're editing that, Mark, can you make that pause just slightly more uncomfortable?
I can see it in the waveforms here, and it's long. It's quite long.
Make it a bit longer, please.
That's like bigger Doomsday long. So. All right.
So Ted and so Leah, I thank you for jumping in there because I forgot to ask you guys to plug your stuff.
That's what we're here for. It's the plug time.
James, what have you got going on besides what Ted already said? Don't you have a movie coming up soon?
Oh yeah, whatever. Coming up soon doesn't make any sense. It's never soon. It's the movie will be out when Mark starts making videos again.
You have your true magnum opus to release. Your Iron Man.
Strecker cut.
Yeah.
Strecker cut.
Strecker cut.
The Washburn cut of Fiery Elf.
I've heard that there's supposed to be a Washburn cut in the mix, but let me tell you, I just learned how to chroma key.
That means you can help with the hundreds and hundreds of green screen shots I have.
No, I can't.
No, you can't.
You can ask me to help, but I do not think. I think it will be the opposite of help.
No.
Mattie, what you got going on?
Well, right now I'm super hurting.
Aren't we all?
No, as we said in the start of the podcast, I'm just kind of along for the ride.
Excellent.
You know what? If you want to listen to more Snyder Cut discussion from me, I did like an hour with the Kino Lefter podcast just yesterday. I don't know when it's going to be up, but Kino Lefter, their Snyder Cut review is like 5 hours long. And they were nice enough to bring in a lot of different content creators for like 30-minute segments, and some of those became bigger segments. So I am in for like 45 minutes. I had technical difficulties at the start. It was around an hour in total, but whatever. Otherwise, I made a Dwayne McDuffie documentary that's on the Watchtower Database.
That's right.
Thing. That's the biggest thing I've worked on recently. But Ted already plugged Watchtower Database, so it wasn't the first thing to come to mind.
I did it.
But that documentary is really good. I'll actually put a link to that in the description too, because I didn't get to watch it when you first posted. I saw it just a few days ago, but I was like, oh yeah, that was really well done.
Well, I am glad you appreciated it.
I mean, Ted brought up all the broad Watchtower Database stuff, but I will say, depending on when this comes out, we do have a Snyder Cut review coming out on the channel. Should be the Sunday after we're recording this, whatever that means to you who's listening to it. It may already be there. Go look now. And it is. I mentioned, I kept bringing up like so many times in this conversation of, my friends and I were watching the Snyder Cut. It's the same. If anyone listening to this has ever watched my old YouTube channel, my personal channel, JTS Entertainment, we used to do movie reviews over there. It's the same guys that reviewed the theatrical Justice League with. So It should be a rip-roaring good time, and go check it out. You hear? It's me,
Excellent.
Mira. I'm Western now.
Excellent. And as usual, I'll ask my boys if they've got anything going. My fellow HoloCasters, have y'all got any projects, or is this still just it?
Not really. Just go to my YouTube channel. I guess it's there's nothing there. I mean, there's one 10-minute video there, but I do. There might be another one there soon.
I'm sold. I'm subscribing.
Subscribed.
Please.
Subscribe for yearly content.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what people did for Mark.
Pretty much.
But yeah,
I got a lot of subscription in the last year with nothing made, so yeah.
Yeah, I have nothing going on, so I can't really talk. This is just this is all I do, and it's fun. This was a great time. So.
Yes, this was an excellent episode, and once again, thanks to my guests and to my co-hosts. We got to do this again for something else sometime, because
Snyder Cut 2
and
Snyder Cut Part 2.
Yeah,
and
when they do Snyder Cut 2, we'll reconvene.
I will bring you guys back for the next DCEU movie, I guess, which is
The Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Comes out in August.
Yeah. So hopefully, if you guys are free, I'll bring you back for that.
We'll certainly talk.
Much appreciated.
The fun twist on that episode is that one of us, our brain's gonna explode in the middle of recording.
And well, I guess once again we ran out of time to discuss the problematic nature of the name HoloCast, but we will get to that
next episode.
Next episode for sure. Yeah. So once again, thanking my guests, James, Mattie, Ted of the Watchtower Database. Please go watch them. I am Digital Jedi.
Oh fuck! I'm serious.
I'm Danny.
I don't believe any of you.
Everyone seems so unsure of their identities.
I'm Mark.
I think I'm Ted. Maybe, I don't know.
I am whatever you say I am. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am? In the paper, the news, every day I am. Radio won't even play my jam.
I might secretly be a Martian?
Some people call me Martian Manhunter.
I've been Martian Manhunter.
Martian Mathers.
I've been Martian Manhunter this whole time. I've been pretending to be somebody to get Mark to get his channel open again.
The world
saying
depends
peace
on it.
out and remember to watch everything.
And remember the Titans.
Bye. Bye.
Remember the 5th of November.
Bye.
Do you remember the time?